Good morning, beautiful people. It is Wednesday, July 8th. Obviously, a massive day for this office. If you're listening on radio and not watching on YouTube, we made a rather large declaration this morning by a video that was put together by Foxy, displaying that we just signed a multi-year deal to be exclusive with Fanduel as our sports book partners. So we had to deal with Fanduel. It was like a quick run this past fall. And as soon as it started, Fanduel basically, whenever they didn't want me to do anything that they were like, listen, anything you want to do it, right? Anything you want to do it. Now, granted, there's regulations because sports gambling has become a federally regulated thing, and it's going to open up to more and more states. There's a couple big announcements for states that are getting legalized for the mobile sportsbook app coming soon, but I'm not going to be the one to break that news because I could be wrong, and I do not want to do that, but I am privy to some information now that's very interesting. But whenever we started working with Fanduel, the people there were just so cool. They're like, listen, whatever you think of, whatever you want to do, whatever odds you want to boost, whatever campaigns you want to run. We ran a Spread the Love campaign, which had never been done in this fashion before, and I thought it was a big joke. I thought there was no way Fanduel would allow it. They were like, hey, any idea you think of, just kind of send it to us. We'll see if we can get it regulated and pass through. And since we have the best tech in sports gambling, which Fanduel does, and we own the book itself, so we can change lines and stuff like that, no problem. We can implement it quickly. I was like, well, how about the Spread the Love campaign? They're like, what's that mean? I was like, I think it's like team betting. You know, like if we get a certain amount of people to bet on something, can we raise the points? Can we get more points if we get more people on there? They're like, yeah, I think we could do that. Let's see what happens. They go, they get it tested, whatever. Then the Indianapolis Colts against the New Orleans Saints was the first time we did it. The Colts are plus 60 or something like that. So for every 250 people that bet on that, it went up another point. We had it at plus 60. Then did it for the IU game against Purdue, I believe. It might have been IU Purdue. And it got up to like plus 100 and something. So like these campaigns are things that FanDuel, I'm not sure any other sports book would do. They lost millions and millions off of those things, and FanDuel was like, we want more of them. Whatever you can think of to make sports gambling as much fun as possible for people, we are in. Because for a long time, sports gambling has had kind of that, like, I don't want to say shady feel, but it kind of was, because it wasn't legalized. So you had to go to somebody in a corner, you had to kind of talk to them. Then you see the movies like Uncut Gems, and you start thinking of like how some people get in there. But really, the only experience I've had since retiring in sports gambling is like I have a good time with it with the guys. I'm like, hey, let's do this. And FanDuel and I, we've really been a perfect relationship. And joining us in like 28 minutes will be Matt King, the CEO of FanDuel, just to talk to him about why did he decide to back the Brinks truck up to us? That was very, very nice of him. We're very, very thankful. It's been hard. This has been like a 3-4 month conversation now with FanDuel to figure out how to get this deal right. They will be re-showing our show daily at 10 p.m. on their digital platforms that they own. I believe TVG is one of them. And also, I'm not sure the other name, Sports Grid, I think. Sports Grid is just on, but I don't know how that's going. I think it's on Sports Grid as well. They'll also use some of our social media clips, and then most importantly, they're going to let us do whatever the hell we want with that sports book to hopefully promote it, because they are the friendliest. Okay, they really are.
Oh, yeah.
They refund people whenever they think something's unfair. If a ref makes a mistake or something, they'll refund people that lose it. No sports book is doing that. No. Like, they don't have to. Could very easily collect their money, refund it. They want to do things the right way, and we're very thankful to sign a multi-year deal with them. And it was a big one. I'm going to be honest. This was a hilarious deal. I had to practice with a straight face the amount of money that I was expecting out of this deal. And I practiced it in the mirror whenever I was looking in the mirror, and I said the number because I knew we had a conversation. Matt King, the guy that's coming in, the CEO of FanDuel, I never met him before. And before they saw the back end of the deal that we made, right? Like how we performed for them and how our people got on board with us, which I can't thank you all literally enough. I don't know which camera. I can't thank you all enough for rocking with us on a daily basis, because without you, literally, and I have no idea why. The people that followed me on Twitter, like from the beginning, I started growing a following, on Twitter, and I stuck with it a lot. I was on Twitter a lot. I invested a lot of time on Twitter, and people kept following. And people would ask me why. Like, why do you think he's being followed? And I have no idea. Like, I honestly have no idea. I might be the dumbest human on earth, okay? I got in a resounding amount of moxie, I think, at this point. I think it could be a good way to describe it. And it makes no sense that you guys rock with us so hard and rock with me. I am so thankful for you guys in the way we perform with Fanduel. Now, granted, I'm going to we gave winners out. Like, I gave a lot of winners out. We boosted odds on a lot of winners. I mean, and to be honest, I thought it was potentially going to ruin the deal with Fanduel. Like, sure. I thought there was a chance that it was going to ruin because we're giving out locks, we're boosting odds, which means you're getting more bang for your buck than any other sports book. And whenever we choose to do so, like that's what Fanduel does. And they saw the back end performance, but Matt King wanted to talk about a bigger deal. He was like, hey, let's go ahead and why don't we go ahead and try to lock this down? So he comes to Indianapolis. And we go to lunch. I think I'm in a sleeveless hoodie and jorts. Okay, I think I'm in a sleeveless hoodie and jorts. And the conversation just started. And there was a lot of things thrown out there. There's a potential business partnership that's going to happen here in the next couple months too. We're in full conversation. It's just, whenever you start talking to him, he was like such a cool dude. It made no sense. It made no sense how cool of a guy he was to be in a position he's in a business that is currently like a rocket ship right now. It's just, it was a very cool conversation. I'm very thankful for him, but this conversation negotiation has been going on for a couple months, and I don't have a filter. And there's been a couple times on this show where I've just wanted to be like, wait until you hear what, because you never know what's going to happen. There was a couple days where it felt like maybe because obviously there was a sports hiatus and there was a full quarantine, and there was a lot of days where it was like kind of difficult, I think, for both sides to even want to talk business, right? It was like hey, we are in a time that we will never, ever, ever have again. Like, this is a crazy time of change, crazy time that has never happened, unprecedented. So there was a couple days where, it was like, this is not what we should be talking about. We should talk about other stuff. But man, through the entire thing, it's felt like a real partnership with Fanduel, and I am so
thankful.
And as soon as I said the number to them that I was thinking, and I did it with a straight face, by the way, I was pretty proud of me. Method actor. I thought about Johnny Depp whenever he's walking out the bags out of the airport. Mm-hmm. It was like, hey, you just got to act as if, dude. Just act as if here. So I practiced in the mirror the number that I thought it would be, a number I think I would need. Then I go to him, and he says, what do you think? What do you think for this type of thing? And I say the number. I deliver it with a very straight face. I'm not going to say it because there's no reason to really rub that in there. It's big. And I said it with a straight face. And he looked at me, and he goes, I think we can do that. And I was like, damn, should have said more. It felt like Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs deal. It felt like Patrick Mahomes should have said more.
You war dogs yourself.
I did. I did. But it was more than enough for me to be like, yeah, this is awesome. So Fanduel becomes our exclusive sports book in a massive marketing partnership. And I can't wait. Man, I'm so thankful. And the other night, now granted, that was obviously a long time ago. None of the guys have the money still in their house. So if you know where they live, that thing, a lot of them didn't know what to do, to be honest. Next day after that money was delivered to their houses in bag. And by the way, we were going to do briefcases, but you got to secure the bag. Yeah. Like the bag is so much better. And we had to get 10. My lady Sam, she went to a couple different stores to find 10 backpacks.
Nice backpacks.
Great backpacks.
Nice backpacks.
By the way, only like $20 a pop.
Yeah.
And there was like $65. She was sending me pictures of these backpacks. She was like, are they going to use these backpacks again? I was like, I would assume. And she was like, well, we shouldn't go like this. Here, this one's a good medium one. It's $19.99. The other one's $65, $70. They are charging parents an arm and a leg for these bags. So we get the $20 bag. So a little bit. You guys can get your own bags now at this point.
Yeah.
But that whole thing going around with the bags to all you guys, I mean, it was so much fun. The bank process, though, was a whole ordeal. I mean, me and Foxy going into a bank asking to withdraw, that amount of cash is very hilarious. I go in there, by the way, once again, George, the whole thing. In the bank, big shout out to the bank, okay? It's my money. Right. Yeah. So I would like that to be known. Sometimes it feels like the bank people, and it's not just for me, I assume it's for everybody. They act as if it's their money. Right. And I can understand that because they do a great job of protecting it. But the amount of time it took for the Huntington employees to get all this out, like, I am very, very, very thankful.
Can't even imagine.
Very, very thankful for them. But boy, what a day, July 8th. It's a cool one. Matt King will be joining us in like 20 minutes or so. Yeah, I mean, they have to count everything too. And that was a pretty deep stack there. And it's like, when you go to a casino, they have to count out every dollar in front of you. Mm-hmm. That has to happen to the bank as well. And I've never made that large of a withdrawal. That turned into quite a process. That turned into a
lot of questions.
A lot of questions were being asked. I mean, there was a lot going on. It was like, hey, just listen. I know this is probably going to be another 4-hour process here, but let's keep it moving. And then the midnight ride to all the boys was fantastic. Yeah. It's just we're in a pretty hilarious existence here. I mean, right in the middle of a pretty hilarious existence. I'm 33 years old. When I retired on that video, you heard Mike Wilbon basically say that my friends need to give me an intervention and need to hold the helmet on me and all this stuff. And I think the fact that you guys, and then you guys joining and not even knowing what the hell it is, the fact that you guys just quit your jobs and did this, like, I am so thankful for that. Because there was a couple times where I would lay down at night and I would think, like, why are Nick and Diggs doing this? Like, Diggs, great salesman and a credit card company. Weren't you, Diggs? You were a great salesman. Look at this guy. This guy could sell ice to a polar bear right now. This guy right here. Look at this guy. And he would give deals to everybody. His boss didn't even know, and he was just making things happen. Nick went to school 45 years. Nick literally has a master's and all this stuff. So whenever they were like, hey, if you're doing this, we're going to come with you. I mean, that was a wild scene. There was a couple times I lay down and I'm like, well, this is crazy, because now it's not only me. Right now, it's not only my lady, but now I got my friends, their potential future families, and everybody at home who knows these guys who just quit their jobs is probably like, you guys are idiots. So it really was a point where, and I want to thank you guys for that a lot. And this is just the beginning, by the way. No, it's not. It's not the beginning. The beginning was then. Now we are like, whenever people are like, "Hey, we're just getting started," like, no, we've been going here rather hard. But I thank you guys for being there from the jump, man. Honestly, I honestly do. We were in a basement at one point. There was ghosts flying around. We were recording into an iPad at one point. I mean, we were bouncing around. We had this, that. I mean, it was a hell of a ride to get here. And this is a massive investment into our company. I think it couldn't be done without you guys.
And I'll never forget when you called me and I was sitting in the cubicle and you called me and I took the call out in the hallway and I was like, you want to do what? And I was like, let me get back to you. And then, and then I thought it over, and then I told my parents, and they're like, you're going to do what? And I was like, listen, I've known Pat for 20 years. You guys have known Pat for 20 years. He has never failed at anything he has put his mind to do. And I was like, I trust my entire life with this human, so I'm going to move from Pittsburgh. I'm going to go to Indianapolis, and we're going to crush this. And obviously, that trend still continues. And
well, that means a lot. I have failed at things, though. I mean, I have.
Maybe like a day, but then the next day it gets better.
Yeah, that is. I feel like I have a good selection process on what I try to do. I think that is something that, like, I'm not going to try to do things like Jeopardy, for instance. I would be terrible at Jeopardy. There's things that I know that I would be terrible at, but Wheel of Fortune, I get on there, probably going to clean sweep that thing. Mm-hmm. If I had to guess, probably clean sweep that thing. I feel like I'm good at picking and choosing what I do, but this one, I mean, it was a whole new world. We were very lucky. Like, with the comments in the video, going to Barstool there for the first year and a half. And we didn't move to New York, which I think we would have learned even more if we would have moved over there about how, sales and how the whole thing operates. But getting a chance to have like that, like university almost into the internet was really, really cool. Like really, really nice. And that was conversations I had with Eric and Dave whenever I was going to retire, because I was going to start my own app. I was going to put out a podcast like daily. I was going to charge like 99 cents a month for people, because I had hundreds of thousands of followers in Indiana. And I was like, if I just get 10% of these people to just pay $1 a month and I'm just making content on my own app, this is no problem. This will be a business. And Dave and Erica reached out to me. And by the way, that wouldn't have worked. Just hindsight, that would not have worked. But Dave and Erica reached out and they're like, hey, whenever you retire, you want to come? So getting a chance to go and like learn and watch them while running our own business. So it was like we were running our own operation out here in Indianapolis while also seeing like how it kind of works was vital in this entire thing. And then whenever we go off and do it alone, there was a lot of people that obviously thought we weren't going to make. I mean, every single decision I've ever made, somebody has looked me right in the face and told me I'm an idiot and I'm not going to make it. And these are some of the people I respect have said it. Like whenever I left soccer to do football in high school, the amount of humans that were calling and telling me and my family, like, why is he doing this? Like, why are you? Because I don't want to scratch my own back here, but I was a rather large deal in the soccer world for a little bit. I had potentially the strongest leg to ever kick a soccer ball, and I was fast. Now, granted, I hated running, but I think that kind of comes into it. But I had a lot more schools looking at me for soccer, a lot more, like 10 times more schools looking at me for soccer than I did for football. So whenever I was like, I'm going to go do football after a conversation with my old man, a lot of people were like, you're so dumb. Like, people were telling me I was dumb. Like, a lot of people were telling me I was very stupid. And then that obviously ends up working out. Then I get drafted to punt. I go to the Colts. And then whenever I think about doing stand-up, or whenever I think about doing my own merch company for Connor Daly to run the Indy 500, or whenever I think about doing any of this, I'm always told I'm an idiot by some people. And I would assume a lot of people have enough mental toughness to just be like, kind of brushes. I don't. Like, I swallow those, and I remember those people forever. And that's why the Wilbon clip was so vital to this clip, because it was literally as we were trying to figure out the announcement, I was like, Wilbon, day I retired. Because I remember like it was yesterday, because I have a lot of respect for Wilbon. I have a lot of respect for Kornheiser. I have a lot of respect for them. And listening to them talk to me, it was like, man, you have no idea who I am. Like, you obviously have done zero research. You have no idea that I've already sold out a stand-up comedy tour with over 10,000 tickets sold in under like 30 minutes. You have no idea about any of this. Like so that was like a driving force. So then I said, whenever we get a Brinks truck backed up, in my mind, I was like, Mike Wilbon will be the first person. And we did reach out to him for comment, because I thought after this long, like maybe he'd be like, hey, I was wrong, big respect. And I can understand that not everybody will be able to do what we have been able to do. It has taken a special group of humans alongside me here to be able to do this. And also, amount of work. I misjudged the amount of work it was going to be. Okay, I misjudged. Whenever I was in the NFL thinking about retiring to do this, I misjudged how much work it was going to be. But man, when you're working with your friends and like you're working with a goal and a mission, you really get going. You kind of get lost in the process and all that. But whenever we got here, I said, listen, that Wilbon clip is going to be the thing that kind of drives this entire thing. And it was. And he has not responded. I would assume that Wilbon, though, at some point will do something hilarious about this. Mm-hmm. But this is a cool day for us, man. Really cool day.
Man, that was my favorite when you first started doing comedy while still playing in the league. And everyone's like, oh, he's punting. Now he's doing comedy. He's going to punt for another 10 years. He's going to make so much money. I'm like, well, about that. You'd always talk about it. You'd always like, I don't know, maybe next year. And then no one would believe me when I'd say it. They'd ask me back home. I'm like, he's probably going to hang him up soon. I think he's about done with it.
I just, it's one of those things where I was very, very fortunate and lucky to play in the NFL. Very, very fortunate and lucky to play in the NFL. Not a lot of people get to do that. And it set me up, it set me up. It gave me a head start on everything. I got to take care of my family, my friends. I got to do a lot. It was really good. But once you start doing things like with the foundation, I started doing a lot like philanthropic stuff off the field. And then I started doing like radio, and then I started doing stand-up comedy, and then that merch business with Connor Daly for the Indy 500. Like, I saw how that started working, and I started seeing everything else. And for those stand-up comedy things, I was running the theaters myself and just selling the tickets off my Twitter. So I literally saw how the entire business that worked, and I saw some of the paychecks in that. I'm like, so there is money out here to make it. Unless this just disappears, which I'm not 100% sure it will, there is a lot of money to be made off the field. And it was like 2-3 years, though, of me like, I think this is it. Like, because it's not about, I love the people at the Colts, like all the behind the scenes people and teammates and everything like that. But I kind of lost fulfillment in working my ass off and investing my time and energy into punting a ball whenever the offense fails, right? And I would have my best season and we would lose. So my happiness would be completely controlled by whether or not other people were working as hard or having as much success or getting as lucky as I was. It kind of got to a point where I was like, I respect punting. I appreciate punting. I appreciate the NFL, but I just feel like the time has kind of passed. And also I didn't really feel welcome at the workplace my last year. It was almost like I was not loved the last couple years at my workplace. So you kind of put those all in, plus another surgery on my knee. It was just like the easy decision for me. But then when I heard the backlash from people about how stupid I was, that was the first time I was ever like, oh, maybe a bad idea. I think I'm dumb enough, which I think is a pretty key. I'm a dumb enough person that I don't overthink things. It's like, if I make a decision, like, okay, let's go, and let's see how it goes. And if it doesn't work, let's remember it and look back. So whenever I made the decision to finally retire, it was like, all right, here we go, I'm going to go. And then once the outside noise started creeping in, that was potentially a bad idea. I was like, oh, I guess it could be. Huh? And then you guys both quit and joined it. It's like, oh, and then those guys, they just quit their jobs. And I'm like, well, get that out of there. Don't even think about that. Let's just get back to the goal here. And with the group of boys that came in via interns, I mean, we are a lucky bunch here. And I can't thank you all enough for watching this stupid journey of us.